If you are weighing your options about which city you want to settle in Canada, look no further than Toronto. Toronto is Canada's premier city, a vast metropolis with over 6 million people and a dominant share of Canada's economic output. Let's look at what living and working in Canada's biggest city is like. The average monthly living cost is the primary concern for most families when moving from one place to the next, especially if it's a major city like Toronto. A family of 4, Canada's most common family arrangement, can expect to pay an estimated average monthly living expense of 5,822 Canadian dollars. Finding a place to call home is the most important decision when moving to a new city. Renting an apartment is a popular accommodation arrangement in Toronto, especially for newcomers. Renting an apartment in the city center costs 2,578.91 Canadian dollars per month. This is more expensive than in the city's outskirts, which costs around 2,302.02 Canadian dollars per month. If you're ready to become a Greater Toronto Area (GTA) homeowner, ensure you have 1,141,400 Canadian dollars. Transportation in Toronto is relatively inexpensive. Toronto's well-developed transportation infrastructure includes buses, subways, taxis, and streetcars. If you use public transportation, set aside $156 for a regular monthly pass. If you've received your driving license in Toronto, putting your car on the road will cost you 1.64 Canadian dollars per liter of gasoline. Taking care of your health is vitally important, but can be made difficult by steep healthcare costs. Suppose you're a non-permanent resident of Toronto who has lived in the city for over 3 months. In that case, Toronto Public Health can provide free dental care, sexual health care, tuberculosis, TB, medical surveillance for newcomers, and immunization services for children between 4 and 17 years old. Toronto is a haven for rearing young children through quality education. Primary and secondary education is provided via a mixed public and private school system. If your children are not yet permanent residents or citizens of Canada, you'll have to pay between 9,500 and 17,000 Canadian dollars for their public school instruction. If you fancy educating your children in private school, ensure you have between 15,000 to 30,000 Canadian dollars for a day school or 63,000 to 83,000 for a boarding school. Toronto is a relatively safe and secure place to live, especially for a city of its considerable size. Crime in the city is moderately low, with a crime index 47.30. You can walk alone during the day and at night and feel safe that you won't become a victim of crime. Some of the safest neighborhoods you can live in include Edenbridge-Humber Valley, the Kingsway, Yonge-St. Clair, and Forest Hill South. With its renown as Canada's cultural and entertainment capital, you'll never experience a dull moment in Toronto. Popular entertainment events you can look forward to in Toronto include the Toronto International Film Festival, Toronto Caribbean Carnival, Canadian Music Week, and Fan Expo Canada. If you are an outdoor enthusiast, Toronto's extensive park system covers all possible outdoor activities, including hiking, exploring nature trails, and leisurely picnics. High Park, the largest park in Toronto, is the centerpiece of the city's park system and is a must-see attraction for any outdoor enthusiast. If you want to enrich your cultural perspective of the world, Toronto is the place to be. The city is the second most diverse city in the world, with 49% of residents of the city being foreign-born. For newcomers, Toronto's diversity provides a higher chance for them to find a place to belong. Working in Toronto has a lot of benefits that you may not find in any other Canadian city. The total number of jobs in Toronto is 1,484,600 and increasing, ensuring that job opportunities are always available for newcomers to the city. As of October 2023, there are 22,670 job vacancies in Toronto, and if you land a job, you're entitled to a minimum wage of 16.55 Canadian dollars per hour. Before deciding to work in Toronto, you may need to consider what sets Toronto apart from other Canadian cities and what it offers workers. Working in Toronto, you can expect the following benefits. Higher salaries. Compared to other Canadian cities, workers in Toronto, on average, earn a higher salary than workers in other major Canadian Toronto. For example, the average monthly net salary in Toronto is 4,658 Canadian dollars. In Montreal, Canada's second largest city, it is 3,839 Canadian dollars. To learn more about what you can expect from living and working in Toronto, subscribe to our channel and visit mdccanada.ca.